Hello everybody, my name is Steve Moore and I'm the owner of Run More, this brick and mortar running shop right here in Westminster, Maryland. We're very excited today to talk about a new shoe, the New Balance Fresh Foam 860 version 11. We've never really talked much about New Balance in here, and there's a reason why. New Balance has some shoes that they really try to stick to just brick and mortar options. I know a lot of people out there have seen New Balance everywhere, and a lot of times when people are new to running and they come in here, there's almost like a bit of a stigma or something around New Balance where they may associate it with almost like a lower tier shoe. You know, it's a Dick's Sporting Goods shoe, or a Kohl's shoe, or even like a Costco shoe for like the dads walking around in a big clunky New Balance. But they carry some lines of shoes that are run specialty only. So while there might be other places that are New Balance dealers, some of the lines are specifically only sold in places like this, and they're very protective of it. So while we've carried the 860 and its partner the 880 for years, we haven't been allowed to even put them on our website. We really weren't allowed to, for a while, even broadcast on social media we had it. It was like a big secret that we had these shoes and we weren't allowed to talk about it. Kind of weird. But with everything that's happened with COVID and such this past year, they've really opened up restrictions and allowed brick and mortar running shops to talk about their shoes and present them on their website. So this is the first time that we're really doing a full deep dive into their line, and it's available on our website, which is awesome. And as always, if you enter promo code RUNMORE, you will save 10% and we'll ship it out for free. So the Fresh Foam 860, first off, that's a whole new name for them. If you've been following this shoe for a long time, it's always just been called the 860. So now we're on the 860 version 11, and they're now calling it the Fresh Foam version 11. Fresh Foam has been their new proprietary foam blend. It is spongy and responsive. It is their proprietary blend. Everyone has their own sort of way of doing that midsole protection, and this is theirs. It wasn't always in the 860 though. They used something else in previous generations called the True Fuse or something like that. It was a little bit different, but now we've switched everything over to the Fresh Foam, and we're seeing a lot of shoes that are really pulling a lot of eyes onto it. So they even have a shoe called the Fresh Foam More, which sadly was not named after me, as much as I've tried to get them to name a shoe after me. So we have seen a lot of shoes from the 880, the 1080, the Fresh Foam More that have adopted and really started pumping all their shoes with this Fresh Foam because it's really nice. And you can feel the difference if you're putting on version 10 versus version 11 because it does feel softer. It does feel like it's got some cushion and some stability. So if you've come into a running shop and you've somebody who overpronates, who's somebody who needs just that medial support protection, we try you in an 860. And if you're somebody who's much more neutral across the board and doesn't need any guidance, you would try its partner shoe, the 880. So these are the two brick and mortar specific everyday trainers in a neutral and a stability category. So when you're sort of looking at a neutral shoe like the 880, if you're looking at the Fresh Foam that wraps all the way around the shoe, it's consistent in its durability all the way around. It is a full midsole completely of Fresh Foam. If you're looking at a shoe like the 860, you're gonna see a little bit of posting in the middle there. And so a lot of shoes, if you're looking and you're trying to figure out the difference between a neutral and stability shoe and you're walking around a store like ours or a sporting goods store and you're trying to figure out how can I tell the difference, because a lot of shoes will look very similar. You'll pick up a shoe and you'll say, well, I can't tell the difference. They're priced the same, they look the same. How am I going to tell the difference between, I don't know, I'll say like an Asics Cumulus versus an Asics GT2000. The colorways look very similar. So it's kind of hard to tell. So what we're looking for typically is that sort of call to action on the medial side to let you know that that shoe is designed to push you to the outside. We've seen a lot of shoes in the past year or two that have adopted a different kind of stability. We call them their guide rails. So there are shoes from Ultra, there are shoes from Brooks, there are some hybrid shoes from sort of Hoka that have a similar idea of giving support on the medial side and the lateral side to help somebody who might underpronate and then really help people who overpronate. The 860 is still one of the old school traditional medial support only. So this shoe is really designed for somebody who just overpronates. I'm going to pick up a different color here just real quick. So here's one of the women's colors. Here's another one of the women's colors on the 860. So pretty. And then here's sort of a men's color. And they have this in a bunch of different colorways, as you can imagine. And just before I forget, it comes in a bunch of different widths. So that's a really nice thing. So you can get down from a narrow in the female all the way to a 2E, a super wide in the female, which is great. And you can get down from a standard, even a narrow in the men's, all the way to a 4E. So lots of good options out there in this shoe. So let me backtrack just real quick. So this shoe is just got the medial support. So it's really designed for someone who just really overpronates. This is one of the most popular, and we sell doctor recommended stability shoes that we have. We get people that come in all the time from a PT or a podiatrist or whatever, and they'll have like a little prescription bag. We see all the time. So go to specialty run store and find a stability New Balance shoe. And this is the one we're going to put them in 99% of the time because it's great. And unlike some other really big beefy stability shoes that you'll see out in the marketplace from different brands or even from New Balance, this is a great everyday function shoe for run and walk. Some of the stuff that's really, really beefy and really, really stable, they're just not comfortable. I mean, they're really clunky. And this shoe is going to give you that really awesome stability, but still feel soft. And now with the addition of the fresh foam that we've wrapped around and again, try to call some attention to, it's got that nice blend of soft and protective. Another thing about this shoe compared to some other shoes that might be even a higher up category, like I'm going to just say again, like we'll say like an Asics Kayano. Those price points are really high, and I like to pull those shoes for somebody who's going to be really like long distance miles or that kind of stuff, or really needs a lot of extra support. They just really need a lot. This shoe for $130 does a tremendous amount of stability and cushion at a great price point. I mean, really, for $130 for what you get out of this shoe, it is a bargain shoe. And this being their sort of crown jewel shoe in stability, you're going to get the great name of New Balance, and you're going to get the great stability that literally is recommended by so many people. It's interesting. I always tell people as well, like, there's a reason why New Balance has been around for so long. They make really high quality shoes. The durability on their shoes is really good, and what you're getting stability-wise is really good. And I like this shoe as well is that because it's now using the fresh foam, you can feel that it's got that soft blend while having stability. And I'm just going to sort of not pick on a shoe, but I'm just going to kind of compare to another shoe. This is the Asics GT2000. This is sort of Asics everyday stability trainer shoe. That's got posting on it. That's got a little piece of plastic here that has a little bit of density to it. This shoe, also great shoe, good stability to it. It's clunky. It just feels, it's so stiff in the midfoot. It's going to be great support. A lot of people wear this shoe, but it doesn't have the same softness and sort of moving along with you that you're going to get out of a shoe like the 860. It just feels better underfoot, in my opinion, while you're still getting everything out of it. And also, the weight for being a shoe that is so stable and still has great cushion to it, it really isn't bad. It's right in line with shoes in sort of that category. On the men's size, we're at 11.4 ounces, and the women were like 9.2. So actually, compared to a previous generation of this shoe, it has gotten lighter. So we've now added a better component to it with the fresh foam, and we've shed some weight. Another thing, I'm going to try to move that way so you can see, we've added our little fun guy on the heel here. This is their true heel. It's really nice. Their ultra heel, and we're seeing it more on their shoes. Like if you have seen the new 1080, which is right there on the wall, they started introducing that. On the Rebel, we're starting to see that more often. And the big differences between like the old version here is version 10 of the 860 versus the 11. When we had people when we first switched to this new Ultra heel, especially on the 1080, when people would try it on, some people felt like they weren't as secure in the heel, almost like it was just a little too soft. Not every time, but I'd say there was a good 17% of people that put on a 1080 and they felt like they lost a little bit of support around the heel. This shoe came out, it actually came out September 15th, so this is a new release to us because we're filming this in mid-September. But we actually got a run of this in August, so we've been fitting people in this for about a month before we were allowed to really announce that we had it. I have yet to have one person that say that they didn't feel great in the heel, or that they were stepping out of the heel, or that this goofy thing didn't make them feel as secure. Not one person has said that. Not one person who's come from an older version of the shoe to the new one, or one person who's new to the shoe has had any beef with the issue on the new heel cup. I think it feels great. I really enjoy the way that it feels on my heel. It's supposed to just kind of hold you a little bit better, maybe take a little bit of pressure off the Achilles. You know, they have all kinds of different ways, the reasons why they did this. But to me, overall, it just fits and feels a little bit better around my heel. So I think if anything, it's going to be a nice addition, even though it is a little bit goofy. We're going to see more and more New Balance shoes that are doing it. Another quick point on this is New Balance shoes just naturally are a little bit wider. So again, to kind of hold up our GT2000, this shoe fits and feels way more stretchy and wide than my Asics shoe. It just fits better. And I've also, in previous iterations of this shoe, we have had to size people up about a half. It just seemed like when we were pulling shoes, we ended up being a little bit short, but this actually fits perfectly to size in my opinion, and it's also just naturally wide, so sometimes I just happen to have a wider foot. I will take a shoe and I have to go to a wide, not at all. A standard 11.5 for me is perfect in this shoe, even though it's nice having lots of options going up to a 4E if need be. So we have people again that are coming in that maybe just be an everyday walker or somebody who just needs everyday support to help with plantar fasciitis or a tremendous amount of any other injuries, ankle pains, whatever may cause them, overpronation, we can put them in a shoe that's really comfortable, that's really supportive, that's gonna feel great on their foot, and it's gonna be a shoe that's recommended all the time by doctors and podiatrists and all those great people, that's got a really good, dependable name like New Balance. It's been a really great shoe for us. And so we've been carrying 860s and its partner shoe, the 880, for a long time, so we're really happy to get this shoe in. If you have any questions on this shoe or any others, feel free to leave it down below. And if you're looking for a shoe, pop on over to our website, enter promo code RUNMORE, it's one word, RUNMOORE, and we'll knock off 10%, ship it out for free. And if you like this review and you want to find some more stuff from us, give us a like and a subscribe. It really helps us find some new people out there. So thank you so much, and happy running.